Right now, somewhere in your day, you are going to lie. Not a big lie, a small one. I'm fine. Sounds great. No, you go ahead. You won't even notice yourself doing it, but your body will. And the strange part is you've been doing this exact thing in this exact way for longer than spoken language has existed. Here's the reframe. The lie that slips out before you finish thinking it is being filtered through a system in your brain that is far older than the words coming out of your mouth. You believe you are choosing your sentence. You're not entirely. Something underneath language is doing most of the work, and it leaves marks you were never trained to look for. Start with what happens in your body the instant you decide to bend the truth. Your pulse shifts first, not dramatically, just enough that a sensitive instrument could catch it. Blood moves toward your extremities and then back again in an uneven rush. At the University of Granada, researcher Emilio Gomez Millan used thermal imaging cameras to track this exact pattern. He found that when people lie, the tip of the nose and the skin around the eyes heat up by a measurable amount, a temperature spike almost nobody consciously feels. Journalists nicknamed it the Pinocchio effect. Not because your nose grows, because it warms. Why would your body bother doing that for something as small as a white lie? Your nervous system doesn't actually distinguish well between social risk and physical danger. Lying activates your sympathetic nervous system, the same wiring meant to prepare you to run from a predator. Your brain doesn't file "I love this gift" under harmless. It files it under threat. That's the first thing you've never noticed about yourself. Here's the second. Watch someone's hands the next time they tell a small lie, not their face. Their face is the part they've spent a lifetime learning to control. Hands are different. Psychologist Paul Ekman spent decades studying the gap between expressions we choose and expressions that leak out anyway. He called the involuntary ones microexpressions, flickers of true feeling that surface for less than half a second before the face resets into whatever mask the situation requires. Ekman's research, later expanded with Maureen O'Sullivan, found that almost nobody can suppress these flickers completely, no matter how practiced the liar. But here's what most people get wrong about lying, including most people who study it for a living. They assume the face is the place to look. It usually isn't. Psychologist Aldert Vrij, who has spent years researching deception detection at the University of Portsmouth, found that lying is cognitively expensive. Inventing a story, keeping it consistent, monitoring how it's being received, and suppressing the truth all at once requires real mental effort. That effort has to come from somewhere, so it leaks out through the channels we aren't watching. Fewer hand gestures than usual, longer pauses before answering. A version of the story with fewer sensory details because a remembered event is rich with texture and an invented one is thin. Now here's something that should genuinely surprise you. You already knew some of this instinctively before science ever measured it. Go back further than psychology labs. Go back before agriculture, before cities, before anyone wrote a single word down. Small bands of early humans lived in groups where almost everyone knew almost everything about everyone else. Hiding food, hiding an affair, hiding a failure, these were not abstract social risks. They could mean exile. They could mean starvation. In that environment, the ability to detect a lie was as valuable as the ability to tell one well. Evolutionary anthropologists studying deception in primates, including Franz de Waal's long-running observations of chimpanzees, have documented something striking. Deception itself isn't uniquely human. Chimps will hide food from dominant members of the group, fake injuries, redirect attention, all without language. What's uniquely human is the arms race that followed. As our ancestors got better at lying, the people around them got better at noticing it. Your nervous system inherited both sides of that arms race. The part of you that lies and the part of you that watches for lies were built by the same pressure. So if lying is this old, this wired in, this automatic, you'd expect people to be relatively bad at catching each other in the act. And here's the counterintuitive twist. They are wildly bad. Psychologist Bella DiPaolo, whose research on everyday deception remains some of the most cited in the field, ran studies asking people to keep diaries of every lie they told over the course of a week. The numbers were striking. Most people lie once or twice a day, often without any real malice, smoothing over a moment, sparing a feeling, avoiding a conflict that isn't worth having. But when DePaulo and other researchers tested people's ability to detect lies from strangers, accuracy hovered barely above chance. 54% in many studies, a coin flip would nearly keep up. Why? If your body is leaking all these signals, heat at the nose, fewer gestures, thinner detail, why can't anyone read them? Because you're not actually looking for the truth. You're looking for confirmation of what you already expect. Most people walk into a conversation assuming the other person is being honest, because assuming honesty is, on average, the more efficient way to move through a day full of strangers and coworkers and small talk. That assumption is itself an evolved shortcut. Constant suspicion is expensive. Trust, even occasionally misplaced, is cheaper to run on. There's a deeper layer here, too. The same systems that make you bad at catching other people's lies make you remarkably good at not noticing your own. Most of the small lies you tell today won't register to you as lies at all. They'll register as politeness or tact, or simply the path of least resistance. Your brain has a name for almost every lie that protects the social fabric around you, and the name is never lying. It's being nice. It's keeping the peace. It's not making a big deal out of nothing. This is where the modern mirror comes in. You live in an environment your ancestors could not have imagined, a world of text messages with no tone of voice, video calls with a half-second lag, social feeds full of curated half-truths. Every one of those formats strips away some of the very signals your body evolved to send and your eyes evolved to catch. You can't see someone's pulse jump through a text. You can't watch their hands during a phone call. The detection system built over 100,000 years of face-to-face contact is now operating mostly blind. That might be part of why modern life feels, to so many people, harder to read than it should. The tools you were born with were built for a world that no longer matches the one you're living in. And yet the body still tries. Next time you catch yourself saying something that isn't quite true, even something as small as, "I'm almost there," when you haven't left the house yet, pay attention to what happens in the half-second before the words leave your mouth. A flicker of warmth at your face, a pause your brain rushes to cover, a gesture that doesn't quite match your voice. You inherited that response from people who never spoke a single word of any language anyone alive today would recognize. They needed it to survive each other. You're using the exact same hardware to get out of a dinner you don't want to attend. So the next time you tell someone you're fine, notice what your body does in that moment. It already knows the truth. It's been keeping score this whole time, long before you ever opened your mouth.